Alright guys, welcome to another video. Before we get into things, let me quickly shout out my MetaFi. I recently updated all of these decks right after Christmas. They're ready to take down your next tournament. And of course, I have to shout out Sensei Inf's Is It Delver guide that is included with your Booksmart Baron membership. If you upgrade to that, you will have access to all of my stuff over on MetaFi. You can do so by using code ECO50 for a nice discount on your first month. Give it a go, see if you like it. That's going to be it. Let's get back into the video. Hey, what's up guys? It's time to play some more Magic on the channel, and we have a sweet one today. Dimir Reanimator was seemingly banned with the Entomb ban restriction announcement, but I quickly got to work. Just a little bit of background story here. I quickly got to work with Bosch and Roll, Eureka, and HJ Gothic. We came up with a very competitive version that Bosch ended up taking to a couple of Eternal Weekends and doing well. Then I kind of shelved the deck for a little bit, worked on other decks, and now I saw that Easy Money Marksman had taken that list, swapped a few cards around, focused more on the Bitter Triumph, focused more on Tainted Indulgence instead of the Roiling Dragonstorm split. And I really like that. So I took some of those ideas and I stayed true to me believing that Murktide Regent is the best one-card combo. It's better than Oculus in my book. And then sideboard-wise, I'm going even harder on Bowmaster, saying Fatal Pushes, and really try and make a plan B for myself. So the philosophy here is, sure, our deck got a lot worse in a vacuum, right? But in the context, it will have less heat on it, and thus could still be very, very competitive. So that's basically what I'm trying to find out today, if this deck still got it. We have Tamios, bunch of cantrips. We have a bunch of forces. Full place of Thoughtseize. We're basically looking to play against combo every round if we can help it. Unfortunately, we have to run 6 fatties. We have 5 smooth ways to bin a fatty. And then, of course, we have some Ponder, Brainstorm, Surveil options to also bin a fatty. I'm also no stranger to going to cleanup on turn 1 on the draw. 6 reanimation effects, 2 animate dead, which I really like. It's good against decks pressuring your life total. It's good against Chalice for 1. But yeah, let's see how it works out. The Bowmasters out of the sideboard could be amazing into this Tameo Ponder very heavy format. And it plays well with Tainted Indulgence, holding up 2 mana. Maybe they respect Bowmasters, we get to cast our Tainted Indulgence, and vice versa. So yeah, let's get into some games and see if we can do it to them. All right, round 1, I'm playing Dimir Reanimator. I won the die roll, and I have a sweet one. And a sweet message here. Yeah, I think I have a pretty good hit rate here. Every time I record, I get a sweet message. That's not bad. And yeah, I'll keep it up for sure. So let's think about how to play out this hand. So it looks like if we Thoughtseize turn 1, turn 2 I can go fetch, Surveil, respond to that Surveil, cast Brainstorm to bin the Archon. I think that should be the move. So now that's a turn 3 reanimate. If I just Goldfish and I Thoughtseize myself, I mean, it's a turn 2 Archon, but I think it's better to Thoughtseize the opponent, clearing hopefully that, you know, 1 force, picking apart some combo deck, buying time, and what have you. All right, my favorite way to start a game of Legacy is winning the die roll and casting Thoughtseize. I think that's frequently leads to good things. This is incredibly funny. This very well could be the mirror match. So let's take Thoughtseize here. That would be hilarious if this is the mirror match. So next turn, my opponent will have to force a will a Brainstorm if they don't want me to have Archon in the yard. Yeah, let's go for it now. Here's Brainstorm. The opponent's going to let me do it, and wow. Wow, wow, wow. So now I can put back... let's think about this. Double Reanimate is insane. So now it's about which card do I want to hide from an opposing Thoughtseize. And that is probably the second Reanimate. Is that even true? Oh, Magic the Gathering so hard. So Brainstorm is my third card in the yard. If I get Thoughtseize, that's the fourth. And if I cast Reanimate next turn, that's the fifth. Then I can Murk. So maybe it's supposed to be Murktide. I'm not sure about that. Here's the Surveil trigger. So if this backfires, it's just so funny. I must say that would be hilarious. I will say the Bitter Triumph is a little bit sketchy, but then again, the player's also playing Murktide like we were in the old version. And then who knows if they, you know, would have upgraded to Oculus. The opponent kept the card on top. I'm scared. The opponent will know that Reanimate is on the cards. They pass. Well, I don't know my top card. Which land drop am I going to make this turn? If this Reanimate gets countered, I'm just going to fire off another one. So play this one out, I guess. Let's see if this works. Also, we know they have a Bitter Triumph, so... Oh, Force Pitch Force. That's important knowledge. Yep, that worked. Now let's try it again. So now this card is gonna eat a lot of things, including the Bitter Triumph. Oh, double Force here. That's fine. The opponent's down to Misty and Bitter Triumph. All right. So the opponent did a good job staving off the initial onslaught. My Murktide will die to Bitter Triumph, so all of a sudden we have a anybody's game here. Note that I have 4 reanimation spells in my deck that are insane. So yeah, I guess I'm slightly favored, but not by a ton. Let's see if we can change that. Oh my god. That is insane. All right. Let's try for the third time here. Now we're going to drain all of the opponent's cards and play an 8/8 here, I believe. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So now they can discard the remaining card because they were going to discard that to Archon anyway. They do exactly that. I draw a card. Wasteland. Yeah, I'll Wasteland here. Why not? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Play an 8/8. Have the opponent... I guess they don't play Surveil. Oh, Surveil number 2, that is. Now we have a Murktide versus nothing. They could draw Murk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or Brazen Borrower. They have one more draw to do it. I'm not sure about the timing on this Tainted Indulgence. The opponent could easily have drawn Bowmasters here. So what if they did draw Bowmaster? I'll get pinged down to 8. I think it's fine to run this card out because I have a lot of sorcery speed stuff I want to draw. All right, so boom, play land. I don't want to get dazed at this stage. Pass. So now, even if the opponent finds an answer, I'm ahead because of the Tamiyo. Unless this last card is push, of course. Okay, so the last card was push, and they now need to draw exactly Brazen or Murktide. All right, we got game 1 because I drew 3 Reanimate, and I was able to put an Archon into my graveyard, so, I mean, not the greatest accomplishment, but pretty cool showcase of the deck. So let's see here. I want I want all of this. I want 13 cards. I want to play their game. Get rid of those. Get rid of 5 more. Animate deads for sure. Then the forces, I believe. So now I'm basically down to a fair fight with battling for like Tamiyo superiority, Bowmaster superiority, Baragoyf, Murktide, trying to stick something. While hopefully the opponent is drawing some graveyard hate. My concession is Detained Indulgence. Their concession is the graveyard hate and the probably Force of Wills, right? That's essentially what you're trying to do with this deck, is keep your opponent off balance and then, you know, dominate them game 1 and then go into this more mid-rangey plan. Let's see if it works out for him. Bitter Triumphs are a nice way to make the sideboard plan come together, because it's just hard removal that's going to be relevant. So an enabler and hard removal, pretty cool. So it wasn't Dimir. The Fatal Pushes kind of confirmed that, I think. The opponent showed Fatal Pushes. What else did they show? I guess they only showed like generic blue-black cards. In theory, this could be Reanimator with a couple of pushes in the main deck. And then I may end up looking like a fool. Yeah, eventually sticking an Archon there was brutal, and then the Murktide to kind of finish things off post Bitter Triumph. So in this game, Archon was more like a, you know, drained the opponent of resources, right? I drew a little bit of cards, the opponent lost their hand. So Atraxa would have been much better. That's also a big part of why we play 4+2 and not 3+3. I do remember the initial, can't remember the pilot, Build or Burn maybe, played a 3-3 split, which my first thought was, if you play a 3-3 split, that means you must have entombed for that card 50% of the time over Atraxa, which is very far from the truth. But that, I don't, maybe the logic is a little bit flawed maybe, but I think when you run a 3-3 split, you're interested in drawing them an equal amount. So I would consider a 3-3 split if the colors on the cards were flipped, as in Archon was blue, but with Atraxa being blue, for me, it's a no-brainer to go to 4 Atraxa. All right, this hand is fine. No turn 1 Tamiyo. And an Indulgence, not too exciting. I think we should just start developing our tap land here. Bitter Triumph, a card that is good if my mana is up and running, which, you know, I expect it to be. I have 3 lands and solid ways to look for more lands. Worth noting is Orcish Bowmasters is quite potent against this deck. Hopefully, I will find a dynamic where my opponent will proactively Bowmaster, because they don't think I have Bowmaster in my deck, which is a strategical advantage. If they will play out a naked Bowmaster without catching anything, that would be pretty cool. The opponent has enough lands here, milling over a land. It's always good to pick up on that stuff. Passing here, so Bowmaster's on my radar. Okay, so they actually do worry about Bowmasters. So maybe we have a little bit of a fun game here where I will now go Brainstorm Fetch and kind of use the same opportunity. Here's the Bitter Triumph. I'll play a land out first. I don't want to get dazed here for no reason. Okay, these cards are solid. Will I end step a push? Yeah, I probably would. So something like put back 2 lands, maybe. Maybe put back a land and Indulgence is fine. Sure. Put back those. Then I'm ready for, you know, I'll try and dispute a Murktide on the stack. I will dispute a Tamiyo. Ooh, the opponent's going to draw the same card. So they like all their cards in rotation. That's not good for me. If they Baragoyf, I'll try and push it enough turn. Nothing happens. Let's try and reconsider here. Tamiyo is a card I can easily kill, so I should probably allow this. Yeah, let's allow this. So now, do I want to draw the Indulgence or not? I don't think I do. Let's fetch end of turn, surveil. Do I want my own Tamiyo? Yes, please. So now, let's play Tamiyo. Let's upkeep, push. It looks like the opponent's holding up Bowmasters. Maybe they're just going to end step the Bowmaster here. Okay. Killing the Tamiyo. I think that's all right. So now let's do the same. Fatal push onto the Tamiyo. If they have Brainstorm, I'll dispute. If I get dazed, it's very annoying, but the Bitter Triumph will take care of the Tamiyo. So the card advantage. Okay, I guess. Okay, that was a good exchange for me. Using all my mana, stealing a little bit of their mana. I'm not sure about the Swamp Fetch here. That should have probably been an Underground Sea. And now we're into this weird spot where... Oh, are we just in a standoff with Bowmaster versus Bowmasters, or what's going on? I really don't want to play mine out. Ponder is a good one. Okay, this might... Let's try and play around Daze. Play land, play Ponder. If I get caught by Bowmasters here, that's great, because then I get to play mine. Okay, I don't. Ooh, Thoughtseize is insane. So now... Let's cast Thoughtseize. Maybe see a Surgical? Let's see. No Surgical. Force blue card. Here's Kaito. So I should just take the Kaito here and maybe upkeep a Bowmaster. I'm gonna draw Baragoyf. So let's try this out. Naked Force is quite bad. So basically I'm hoping that my opponent will draw like Ponder Brainstorm, so they need to pop the Edict, which will then clear the way for Baragoyf. Okay, looks like they're gonna take the damage here. I'm just gonna slam the Baragoyf in this spot. If I eat Force plus blue card, that's great. The best draw for the opponent to have is their own Bowmaster, but I don't think they have it. Let's see if they drew a blue card. They did draw a blue card, pitch another Force down to the Edict. So they're trying to draw Bowmaster to make this Edict better later, which I do like. I'm in a pretty good position here, I must say. Let's start with attacking, because if they do have Bowmasters, I don't want to get punished. Oh, I guess that would have been fine, because then... Okay, I actually should have played it before combat, because if I play before combat and they have Bowmasters, I get to grow my Orc army to 4 damage. So that was, funnily enough, a good first main phase Ponder. Ooh, nice Reanimate. Yeah, let's Reanimate a Baragoyf. Let's see if the opponent has drawn Graveyard Hate on their random draw. It did not. Okay, I'm really in prime position here. I guess I'm still scared of Orcish Bowmasters, because then that card kills my Bowmaster, and then they can Edict the Baragoyf. I guess it doesn't work. Never mind. Ooh, Fatal pushing that. All right, opponent. That's cool. Baragoyf down. I feel like I should take this slow and steady. My next draw is bad, so the opponent does have a chance. Okay, they take the damage. Now I feel like I should force the issue. Thoughtseize is probably not getting better from here. Let's see what the last card is. Edict. Yes, and the last card is a land. Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep passing the turn here. I feel like that's the move. Play the land. Here's Baragoyf. Okay. So let's see here. If I Bowmaster end of turn, putting the heat on the opponent, 8, 5. Yeah, I think it's time. I'll actually pay 3 here. Opponent's at 5. Cantrips are blanked. But they do have outs. They do have outs. Voidwalker is not it. Ponder is a good one. Bowmaster. I think that is lethal for... Yeah. All right, so we get the job done here. Reanimator playing game 1, and then mid-range preying on the opponent having Force Will in their deck in game 2. So just like we drew it up here. All right, great start here with the Reanimator deck. Let's keep it up. Guys, 4 seasons and I have great plan for 2026. I present you my own tournament series. It's going to consist of 4 Eco Championship qualifiers throughout the year. Here are the details. Here's the entry fee. It's going to be free for all members over on MetaFi. Hundreds of Chester chests, 2 4 seasons main event tickets up for grabs, or you can cash them in for chests if you don't plan on going to the event. And the top 8 of each of these will qualify for the Eco Championship, the end of year finals, which will be a 32-player event. Here are all the details. Of course, going to be free entry if you won your slot. There's going to be 1,000 treasure chests in total. You're going to be winning your own championship playmat with artwork by Adriano Kitani. You'll make it in collaboration with Adriano. Adriano does beautiful art on my channel here. I will pay for 4 high-quality playmats so you can play with your own trophy playmat after winning. And then the top 8 from this tournament will qualify for the following year's championship, which will then be a 40-player tournament. So yeah, I'm very excited for 2026, and I hope to see you over there on MetaFi to take part in this awesome tournament series. Thank you to 4 Seasons for sponsoring this. All right, round 2. I'm playing first with the Reanimator. Have to mulligan a 0-lander. Not too interesting. We will keep this hand. This could be interesting. So I'm basically a land away from bridging Tainted Indulgence into banning Atraxa. I think this is cool if I get rid of Brainstorm. But also, no, that's probably fine to get rid of Brainstorm here. The opponent also on a mulligan. So this is a little bit sketchy. But I guess between Surveillant and Brainstorm, I'm likely to get there. Tundra. Ooh, that card is so good. Cameo. Yeah, that card is unfortunately too strong here. I'll pitch the Merc. Fetch Surveil. Unfortunately, I have to let Thoughtseize go here. I don't love it. Can we draw a non-wasteland land? Yes, we can. I'm actually going to fire that off right now. Because if I'm getting dazed, oh wow. If I'm getting dazed, I wanted to punish my opponent as much as possible. If I draw the land on my next draw step, I'm the best. Ooh. So beans maybe? Well, I think I will fire the enemy dead here. All right, here goes nothing. Note that we can actually get stifled in this spot. Opponent is digging for the force. Makes a lot of sense. They find the force, they get to play the game. If they don't find the force, they could be in trouble. This looks like another brainstorm. One more shot at greatness. Worth noting that if this happens, I have a land drop to go and I can hopefully Thoughtseize my opponent as well, which is so strong. It's kind of like the grief days, where you attract into grief and force and bury the opponent. Let's see if they find a force. They didn't find the force. I really like our spot now. So, enchantment, instant, creature, land, and a sorcery. I'll probably take the Reanimate. This is so strong. Draw 5. Swamp. Thoughtseize. Oh, they're playing that deck. That's cool. Flag on mid-range. I've worked a lot on that deck before. That's a cool one. So let's see. They play Halfling. Flag on is a draw 1. I don't care about that card. I should probably just take the Plow. All right, you're up, buddy. So it's not beans, but it's a similar, engine, bigger blue deck. Okay. They drew another, so I force pitch brainstorm. That's kind of a force play from the opponent. And they play Halfling and can fetch a Surveil. Let's see how we can keep the engine running here. Probably has to do with brainstorm. Note that if I reanimate my opponent's Tamiyo, I certainly don't want to flip it. Brainstorm into more or less nothing. So I guess let's see if I'm the luckiest in the West. I'm not. So I could reanimate the Tamiyo. That will allow my opponent to draw 2 cards off Flagon. So maybe... We actually have a game here. When I resolved my Atraxa trigger, I forgot about the enemy dead. So if this was a Ponder, I'd be way better off, which is kind of funny. So I think my move is now to bounce the Halfling in response to the Flagon, so it's only a cantrip. And then next turn, I'll reanimate the Tamiyo and hopefully start getting some cards so I can win this game. So I imagine, yep, exactly. So the Placon is uncounterable. And the opponent holding up white. No, they're not. They should probably hold up white here, to be honest. Because Plow is a card that you really want to draw. I guess they hedged for this exact exchange so they could replay the Halfling. Okay. I guess that's probably going to be better than trying to hit one of your last 2 Plows. So the opponent has a Plagon and 1 unknown in hand. Murktide Regent. That card is an incredible draw. Well, let's get in there. The opponent needs the answer now for 2 flyers. So I guess in theory, the opponent could be playing Spell Pierce. So let's reanimate first. Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pass. And now, as I said, I'm presenting 2 lethal threats. The opponent has a draw 2 with Plagon in the bank. Funnily enough, with Enemy Dead, Atraxa would actually help Plagon. Okay. So now the opponent will draw 3 Magic the Gathering cards and flip the Tamiyo. So if they find Plow here, there's a game. Okay, they don't. All right, plan A, once again, doing the job in game 1. And now, what to do for sideboarded games. Sorry about that. We can try the same plan here. That would be cool. Bowmasters is awesome against the Plagon strategy. So now, worth noting is that my the fair reanimate plan is less potent because the opponent will cast exile removal. I still think it's worth it. All right, this looks cool. A little bit of spot removal, some annoying Bowmasters, and then must kill Baragorths. As always, we hope our opponent is overreacting to what just happened, and we're trying to get there. Stumble over the finish line with a tempo strategy. This is fine. A little bit soft against turn 1 Tamiyo, which is an annoying theme. I think the good news is, well, the good news is I think they don't run mana denial, so our mana will be there. Wasteland. Well, land pass. What card am I realistically disputing here? Ooh, no fetch. That's interesting. That's actually really heads up by the opponent. I don't like that. Undercity Sewers, Bitter Triumph. I don't think that's a card I can keep at this stage. I kind of need to keep the lands flowing if I can. And here the jig is up and the opponent is a genius. That's cool. That's really, really cool. The opponent found the hand where they can play off of, I guess they just have a million forces and plows, so maybe we should just get going with the Bowmasters. I assume they can just play from basics here, to be honest. Lighted Halfling is annoying. Greens and Zenith would be awesome for me. Yeah, I'm not going to go for my opponent's mana this game. Especially not now. Bowmasters. And now I think I can attack with the token. No land. That's super sad. Let's try and attack with the token. And probably just flash in the Bowmaster. Maybe that's too unambitious. Maybe I should second main phase Brainstorm to try and find some land. Okay, so let's see if the opponent has the intention to force a Will a Bowmaster. I guess I would like that. Draining off the token here is not the end of the world. Let's see if I get punished from slow rolling the Wasteland. I consider days almost a non-factor. Is this... Let's see. I should plow here because I'm growing this anyway. Yeah, sure. So now the opponent's going to let this resolve and plow the 2-2? I love that, I must say. Perfect. That happens. I think I'm on Wasteland Pass because I want to, you know, resolve this Baragoyf. The one has a lot of mana. I have shut down their main, you know, avenue. Maybe not. Maybe the opponent's just going to jam. Oh, Teferi. Teferi's annoying. Plus, sure. So I'm going to double attack the Teferi. Is this a... This could be a failure situation. I feel like I have to find that out first. I don't think I'm allowed to have my Bowmaster eaten by a failure here, so let's try and do that. No failure, okay. Double attacking Teferi seems great, so but let's Brainstorm first. No lands, this sucks. Okay, so I actually don't think I'm in that great of a spot anymore. Those draws have been atrocious. The opponent has a chance here. But they also got into a little bit of a corner with how the plow turn worked out. The block from Halfling. Let's see. I don't even have my first removal spell. Is this Plagon? The opponent's going to draw 2 cards, and I can ping 4 times. Should I just kill Teferi here? Probably. Actually, a little bit of a tough situation, but let's see how it plays out. And I'm getting veiled. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Veil is a way to bypass Bowmasters, and then another Halfling, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Not ideal, because I know there's a brick. Let's Thoughtseize. Get rid of Timeo. Pass the turn. And now I'm drawing another brick, which is kind of a disaster. Yeah, I like my spot a lot, but breaking off completely breaking off of Brainstorm here, just drawing all the uncastables. That was not something I could realistically play around. That's just what happens. Plagon getting in for 3. I have so many bad plays here. Guess so does my opponent. Double Bowmaster in play. So if I draw land, I can flip Tameo and try and, you know, get places. Teferi's on 6. As long as I don't have counter magic, I actually don't care about Teferi. I'm at 13. The opponent has a dead Brainstorm in hand. I do draw the land. Interesting what that is. What's that supposed to do for me? Baraggoyf looks like it will take over the game. What about Flip Tameo? Maybe do that next turn. Attack with Tameo. Fetch on ground C. Play Baraggoyf. I may have gotten there just in time with the land. Four or 5 Death Touch. Right now, it's at least warrants a double block from the opponent, because they can use Plagon to make those boys into 5 power. No attack from the opponent. We do love to see it. And now I can even flip the Tameo just off of clues if I wanted to. Yeah, let's attack our opponent with Baraggoyf. And I actually don't think the Teferi matters that much. Especially this is a chump block situation, or the opponent is actually trying to get it out of here. Chump block situation it is. Let's see what this is. Instant speed, natural order. That is something I love to see. That is incredible. Love it. Instant speed, natural order because of Teferi. So, this being a natural order deck, sheesh. So why didn't... Yeah. The opponent could have done some other stuff here, but this is perfect. This is very, very cool. So natural order into Misty Force Halfling Teferi. Facing Atraxa. Not ideal, but I guess I'll have to double bounce it. Bounce Atraxa. Oh, wow. They have the double. Ooh. Okay. So now what? I have to target my own stuff here to make my guys, I guess. Okay. Cool game. So that one is out of here. Now the question is, do I flip the Tameo? Is that useful to flip the Tameo to have it killed? Maybe it's fine to eat up the damage. Infinite Indulgence. Discard a card. Maybe this Dispute is not good. Okay, this game turned into a grade 1. Pass the turn. The opponent has a full grip with Force blue card in it, which is not ideal. The opponent kills Tameo because Tameo represents Thoughtseize and Bitter Triumph, I guess. So funnily enough, the opponent now 1 mana off of Hardcast Atraxa. The opponent now has Hardcast Atraxa, so unclear about the play. And here's Reanimate, which is kind of funny. Reanimate. What happens if I attack with Baragoyf? I believe just chum block. Yeah, magic is great. What happens if I brazen the Atraxa? Let's try an attack with Baragoyf. I get some life back. Oh, wow. That block would be sensational. Unfortunately, not going to happen. Okay. The opponent's going to make that trade. So now I can play Tamiyo, reanimate Plagon, draw some cards, flip another Tamiyo. I guess I'll try that. So now those trade off. Gain some life. This game is actually insane. I always get insane games here. I love it. Play Tamiyo. What do I want? Do I want to resolve my bounce or my draw? The thing is, my opponent should not counter this bounce, but do I think they will? Is this a necessary play trying to win this game? Reanimating Baragoyf is also really juicy. Let's see if I can make a play here. If I bounce the Atraxa and the opponent is like, sure, buddy, then I could push the Halfling. Ah, magic is so hard. I don't have... Okay, I have enough mana for these 3 plays. So now which one do I want to resolve? I feel like I want to end up with a Baragoyf in play. How do I end up with a Baragoyf in play? What if I Fatal Push the Halfling first? Let's see how that works out for him. That worked. I'll try and bounce the Atraxa, and then I will reanimate the Baragoyf. Very, very hard turn. So I feel like this will not get forced. I wonder if I'm just losing to something like Wrath of the Skies or whatever, since the opponent really didn't care about this. Well, the opponent obviously has some absurd instant here. So I guess we just try and get it over with here. Send the clowns. So in theory, this could be something like, yep, and then natural order. That's so cool. Yeah, I didn't have any priority here. That's so cool. Natural order on the attack step. Get another trigger. Put a lot of cards in the hand. And then... Oh, my opponent found the plow. Okay, fair enough. I think we're done here. Sweet deck, opponent. Sweet deck. I might need my forces after learning about that stuff. So cut an indulgence. Cut a copy of Reanimate. Then what about the last card? Brazen Borrower looks not that great. Maybe it's just another Tainted Indulgence. That card is really not the best. Okay. All right. We got a nasty surprise there from the Natural Order deck. Okay, this hand is cool. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. Turn 2 Ponder Surveil. Double Natural Order is not something I care particularly about here. Let's get rid of the Tameo. So the Double Natural Order is something I need to think about later. I wonder how you fit all of that stuff. It's probably a Zenith deck as well. Misty Pass. Baragorf, not bad, not bad. Let me cast this Ponder. Do I want Land Bitter Triumph? I think that's fine. So I'm looking to get into a spot where my opponent spends force on something else and I have force for the order down the line. Surveil Prismatic Ending to the yard. Here's Noble Hierarch, which is, you know, ideal with me having Orcish Bowmasters. But now, how do we play? I guess we play on the opponent's turn because of Veil. So what's the dream here? That my opponent forces this card? They don't. Okay. So this play also, it looks like I'm a little bit desperate keeping, you know, a green creature off the board. I'll play the Baragorf. I don't think I'll fight over it. I'll just allow it to get plowed. The opponent's super patient here. I wonder what that is about. I guess they tried to have one more draw step to find a blue card to complete the force. Okay, that does make sense. Another Bitter Triumph. Let's ponder first. Another Force of Will. I don't think this is useful. I'm going to shuffle this because I already have a force. Yeah, the push is just so redundant. Thoughtseize here is great draw because now I get to clear the force and have, you know, the force for later. Let's see what their last card is. Order, force. That was indeed the blue card. So maybe get rid of Force of Will because negation is not backup for Natural Order on their turn. So now they can fetch Dryad Arbor and try and order me. Let's see if they got lucky. They did not draw the force, so great exchange for me. Let's see if I can find something to slam the door now that I have my opponent. Also worth noting, with the Arbor out of the window, they have no more windows to have, you know, leave me with a no priority to kill the green creature. Cameo into Hierarch. So I have to kill the Hierarch here. But before we do that, let's see if I have Orcish Bowmasters on top of my deck. Brainstorm, that's good. So let's kill the Hierarch. Let's brainstorm to see if we can keep up the engine here. I think deploying the Varagwave is going to be more important. So I basically go like land all the way down, Bitter Triumph, draw that next turn. Yes. Attack. My opponent blocks the army by mistake. I would have played the second Bowmaster. Here's Baragoyf. I draw a good card next turn, and then the Baragoyf hopefully gets to mill off the land. That would be sick. I'm currently racing the opponent's ability to find green creature and 4th mana source. What happens if I kill that card? That's probably pretty good. Let's kill the Tameo and get in for a bunch. Ooh, they drew Veil. That's so annoying. Let me Bowmaster in response. So let's see. This kills the Tam. This does not kill the Tameo, right? No, it doesn't. Okay. Made a mistake. No, that was good. Okay. That is hard. So now I need to ping some of my own stuff. So the Bitter Triumph fizzles, and I have a lot of damage coming in. The opponent will probably chump the Baragoyf and take 5. Yeah, Veil was a good one there. I wonder if they can survive. Problem is, they need to kill 2 things here. So if they have, like, Plow, Block. Yeah, but even then, I like my spot. All right. That got super weird once I learned about the natural order, but I think we found a good plan here for game 3 to get over the finish line, leave them with 2 of those, snipe the Force of Will when I drew the Thoughtseize, and yeah, just get over the finish line with some black mid-range creatures. Very, very cool. Let's play one more. All right, match 3 of the video. I'm playing blue-black Reanimator, and things have been going swimmingly so far. Let's see what we're up against. Okay, Arid Mesa kind of gives it away. I was about to say this could be anything from Beanstalk to Death and Taxes to Oops All Spells these days. Turn 1 Vial, I unfortunately have to counter. Then I can follow that up with a Thoughtseize, and then I'm actively looking for a way to ditch an Archon. I was about to say, oh my god. Okay, well, now I'm gonna Thoughtseize myself and hope for the best. If I draw, I was about to say, if I draw a reanimation spell, I will Thoughtseize myself. So, again, I wish this was a Traxa. It's kind of a theme. Because in this situation, if the opponent just has a Plow, the exchange is not that brutal because I Thoughtseized myself to even get here, right? So I'm already -2. Then I'm going to be -3, play this card. If I then eat a removal spell, a card, and cantrips, I'm even. So not exactly super value. Johnny. Okay, so the opponent, I will help my opponent flip the Planeswalker here. Oh, wait a minute. So by drawing this force, I think I'm supposed to surveil. If I If I find a blue card to go with this force, I might be in business. Solitude invalidates that, but I think that's fine. Blue card, baby. Well, that is a blue card, but it's also a better reanimation target, so let's reanimate Atraxa. High octane gameplay here. Let's see if there's a Solitude in response. There's not, so we do get to connect with the force here. That's incredible. I mean, these cards are amazing. So now my other sorcery here is Thoughtseize, but I think that's totally fine. Yeah, let's draw 5 Magic the Gathering cards and pass the turn. I feel like the opponent needs a Caracas right now. But they could have. They're probably a 3 Caracas deck, if not 4. So then I will take some damage. I will hopefully get to animate dead the Archon, unless the opponent has another Wasteland, which would also be a good play from them. Developing second Wasteland with the intention of double wasting the following turn. The opponent has, but then they can't Caracas me, so it's like either or. Let's see how this works out for the opponent. I think this starts with Caracas. They don't have Caracas. I think I'm cooking. I will pitch the... Yeah, good call, actually. Or good question, rather. I will pitch... What will I pitch if the opponent plows? Probably the Brainstorm. Is this Caracas attack line the opponent is finding? I do like the way the opponent's playing. They kind of keep me at the edge of my seat. Force a will down to 7. That plow would have given me a life buffer. That life buffer would put me to 13. No, 14. I'm actually not sure I should plow. I should force there. Maybe I'm just supposed to reanimate the Archon and try and protect that. Use that life buffer. Is this another plow? I guess it's pretty ideal for me if it is. Yeah, this game escalated with the random hitting the Atraxa. Stoneforge Mystic, right? So I now need to reanimate Archon on the first main phase so that if they flip the Ajani, I can attack it. And then I need to use this Brazen Borrower smartly. Lion Sesh, you got it. But I can't because of the life total. Lion Sash. Maybe Animate Dead is fine. Animate Dead on that card. The opponent has to sacrifice something. They have to discard a card. Yeah, Magic is pretty darn sweet. Magic is pretty darn sweet. Lion Sash, 2 unknowns. Solitude eats their whole hand. It's not that. Makes sense to sack the Stoneforge. Now let's see what they discard. This, the opponent having, yeah, this is over. The opponent having Stoneforge in the yard reminds me of old times where it was a tech to run a couple of Reanimator in your fair, blue-black X deck. And then against Stoneforge matchups, you would have like a GT in your sideboard for this exact scenario. Just imagine I boarded in GT. This card's in the graveyard. Boom, Reanimate opponent Stoneforge, tutor the sideboarded GT. That was pretty cool. All right, Death and Taxes, sweating bullets over what is coming out of the graveyard. Now the question is, can I get entirely off the plan? I don't think so. I need to cut stuff like the counters. And I want these cards every day of the week. Brazen, not exactly exciting. What happens if I cut that card and I keep my whole plan, but I also add some Barrowglyphs on top? And Sign is actually good against the deck, but on the draw it doesn't catch Vile. Maybe on the play I want those over something like one Animate Dead, one Archon. But now I want all the stuff. All right. We've been very good at winning the game ones today. So that's the philosophy of the deck. So I'm pretty happy that it comes to fruition on camera as well. Philosophy is win game one, then get over the finish line when the opponent is kind of off balance in sideboarded games. Let's see if we can complete that task. This is turn 3 Atraxa after missing my first land drop. Or it's digging for a way to put Atraxa into the yard. Yeah, I'll keep this based on the potential, but I'm also aware that this could easily just blow up in my face. Okay. That card helps me turn 3 Atraxa. Because I can go fetch Surveil, then Brainstorm, Surveil from hand. Yeah, that's pretty good. If the opponent doesn't have a play here, it probably means they have the dog. It also means I don't think I can Surveil here. Stoneforge Mystic. Very annoying. Because now they get access to this sash. I think now I will insta Brainstorm to try and dig 3 cards for a Thoughtseize instead of 2 with Surveil. So now, is this an island angle? I'll go for a duel here, but it's pretty close. No, I don't think I have any way to win, unfortunately. I can put that into the graveyard. I guess if my opponent doesn't have a land, I have game. Is there a smart way to get my opponent to tap out? No, because they have the wasteland. Okay, well, I have a shot here if my opponent has no white source. Doesn't feel great. So here, the ideal was to Thoughtseize to Sash, but no such luck. This wasteland could be a sign of weakness, so I think identifying that is step 1. They did, in fact, not have the land. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I think I boarded out all my forces. Let's check. Yeah, all forces are gone. What happens if I wasteland now? The opponent will waste me back, but then they don't have 2 mana. Let's think about this. If I wasteland my opponent, they cannot use this. So what if they just float the mana? Then I change main. Okay, I'll try this. Waste my opponent's wasteland. So now if they want to use their meteor art, they will have to do it on non-Atraxa. So I'll try and change phases. The opponent will have to act now. Yeah, let's see. This situation was tricky. Okay, here's failure. And now here comes Animate Dead onto Atraxa. Let's see if they have some cool stuff. Surgical Fairy. Very nice. Okay, good play. That's brutal. Yeah, that's gonna do it here. Okay, let's go to the next game. That was awesome. So the opponent has Fairy Macabre. So even though I don't think that card is particularly good, unfortunately, it kind of cooked me there. So there's that. So I still think I've been a little bit lucky to not see Caracas. So maybe I'm supposed to trim like this to fit a couple of consigns. Could also cut an indulgence, but the thing is I would just be making room for an exciting stuff like Brazen Borrower. So maybe keep it as it is. Okay. The opponent surely cooked me there with good fair play and backed up by Fairy. I mean, that was good against the overpowered Reanimator deck, so it's certainly going to be good against the underpowered one. I basically had no chance there. All right, this could be a fast one. I think this is better than a mulligan to 6, but we certainly need some help off the top of the deck. The ideal is to kind of tread water here with, you know, getting plowed and what have you. Turn 1 Vial. Very strong. Fatal Push. Not strong. Okay, well. That was a little bit of a bummer, but I knew what I was walking into with the keep. There's also the argument I'm supposed to turn 1 Surveil to make sure I have 2 mana on turn 2. Then what do I do if my opponent plays Vial? I probably have to consign it. Then I'm back in the same spot. Yeah, that was a tough one. I didn't. I don't. Yeah, it was tough. Let me put it that way. Here's Guide, I believe. So now I'll have to kill the Guide in response to the Ajani. The opponent fetching red here is a little bit annoying. That's probably because Broadside Bombardier is coming. All right, so we will be wrapping up shortly. Didn't get there. Keep was very ambitious. That's what happens. Also, with me missing my my 2 land drops, the opponent knows if they ever find a wasteland, it's more than over. Vile going so good. Five cards in the opponent's hand. A Johnny flipping a Johnny, so I guess I'll consign that. Wait a minute. Yes, I can sign that. Not the best play in the world, but I think it's worth doing. All right, let's give it one more draw to see if we can get to play the game here. Okay, so that is half of a decent draw, I guess. Here's Reanimate. Reanimating a Johnny, is that good? I think I need to aim a little higher. I think it's time to block instead of creating clues. This goes to 3, and I get super cooked by Bombardier. I think with the opponent fetching the mountain, that was kind of the information that there was a Bombardier coming. All right, opponent, it's time to bury me. The World's your oyster. Ooh, here's the wasteland. Brutal. Brutal stuff. So now the opponent can make a cool line of wasteland the untapped land, go to the beginning of combat, vile in the Bombardier, so I never get a window to kill it with Fatal Push Revolt. Which I obviously don't have, but the opponent should assume that. Okay. They don't go for that. Interesting. This deck is cool. It's kind of the energy package and Death and Taxes in one. The opponent's letting me have 3 mana on my main phase here, which is a little bit weird. So this is a Recruiter, I guess, or Flicker Wisp. Guess I'll just play a Murktide here. I want to draw that card. That's probably fine. So why did the opponent hang on to their wasteland? Maybe because they want to play Philia, play around Days, while in the 3-drop, end the game. That's good. Beat Days in this spot. This could be like Recruiter into Dog, I guess. And then they beat Days. That's a good play. That's super solid. I like it a lot. Broadside Bombardier. Good game, sweet deck. All right, we have come to the end of the video. I was happy to showcase the power of Reanimator, and then a little bit of a dud to end out with here. That's, that's how Magic goes. We have ups, we have downs. But yeah, I think this deck is awesome. If you like the look of the list, go and grab the guide. I've also recently enabled YouTube memberships where I'll be uploading videos ahead of time. I'm also planning on a members-only video. Not sure about the frequency, but I do have, some ideas on the drawing board. And yeah, as always, thanks to 4 Seasons for sponsoring my journey. And I hope to see you back soon for more sweet, sweet legacy action. Thanks so much for watching.